Hi guys, it's Dwayne from CodeWheel. This is part 2 of coding a blog homepage using Tailwindcss. To see part 1, and if you've not watched it yet, the link is inside the description. Now that we built our scaffolding from the previous video, we are now going to start looking at the coding. In this video, we'll be building up the header, this main article here, and then we're going to finally finish off doing these 6 other stories. Okay, in the previous video we set up our scaffolding and we built out this dummy page. Now let's get this dummy page which we built out and convert it into this design. So let's go back to our editor and start coding. So we no longer need any of this content here no more, so let's delete it all. We don't need this background colour. Okay, the first thing I tend to do is the main fonts that I'm going to use are set up in the body class. So let's add in Roboto because that was the main font for the page. Roboto. Okay, I also set the main text colour, and in this case it was grey 700. It was one of the ones we created earlier, one of my prefixes, so it's text-cw grey 700. Okay, now if you go back to the design, if you notice at the top of the page we've got this border. So let's have a look at it. That's grey 800 with a height of 4 pixels. So let's add that in also. So if you go to border, and it was border -T for the top, and then it's -4 for the height of 4 pixels. Now to add in the colour, it's border CW for one of our prefixes, grey, and it was 800. I'll just double check that. Yep, 800. Slightly bigger. Okay, so let's save that and let's have a look what it looks like. Nothing which is what we expect. Okay, so let's look at the header. So if we look at the header now, we've got the logo to the left and a navigation with 5 elements in. So let's start building out the header. So, header, and we give it a class of container. Now by default, if I quickly show you now, just put in some dummy text so I can demonstrate what I mean. So lorem ipsum. I always get this plugin modded up. There you go, lorem. And we did it a few more times. By default, Tailwind doesn't center the content to the middle of the page, so we need to do that now. So if we go back to the code, and we center that, so it's mx-auto. We also set a max width of 6XL should do it. 6XL, and we also set a padding left and right of 5 pixels. Sorry, 5 times 4, that'd be 20 pixels. Okay, so we go back to the design and see what we've got. So we're going to do the logo next. Looking at this, I think I'll separate them using the flex. So that'd be one container there, and that's going to be the second container. So if we do a wrapper for it, so div class flex, and then we will do justify between. Sent to them. Okay, excellent. So now we're going to do the logo. So if we do okay, so we're going to export this as an SVG logo. So if I double click that, right click it and copy paste as SVG. And A tool that I use to minify my logos is SVG OMG. You paste it in there, and if you look, it's reduced it by, go down 65.61%, so it's took off nearly 40k, which is a small amount, but it builds up over time, which is a good thing. So if I just download that somewhere, save code wheel logo, save that. Okay, so we open up the download folder which has the code wheel SVG in, so open up that, and we just download that to, we just move that to VS Code. So if I open up VS Code again and just drag that across. Cool. I'll create a folder for the images, so make die images, and I'll move that image, that code logo into the images folder. So move code wheel into images. Okay, that's in there. So if we add the logo in now, src images code wheel logo, code wheel logo for the alt tag. And now we add in the text, which is here. We add in this text now. So if you look at it, it's going to be blue 400 and font size of 24. So let's add that in. It's font bold. And the header fonts is work sans. So in this case, we're going to set this so it's going to be font work sans. Text 2XL, which is 24 pixels. And the color was 400. So text CW blue 400. Code wheel. Excellent. So if we go back to the site and see how that looks. Cool. Perfect. That's it like that. So go back to our editor. Okay, let's put these next to each other. So if you do class, flex, justify between, how does that look? Yep. I'm not too sure if it's centered though, so what we will do is do items center. Yeah, the logo is slightly stretched in. Okay, that's better. The design's got some padding on there, but we do that at the end. Well, after we do the header bits. So let's add in a navigation now. So it'd be UL LI times 5A. Just don't get rid of them, we no longer need them. So it was home, travel, music, technology, business. Home, travel, music, technology, and finally business. Yep, they're all there. Let's put a flex on that container. How does that look? Magic. Okay, so you're going to need to put margin there to the right of it so it's too close together. So what have we got in the design? 42 pixels, 42 divided by 8. If you go to the Tailwind site, and we can see the spacing which Tailwind's got. So if you go to Tailwind website, so spacing, okay. So mine was 42, so goes up in values of 4 pixels each one. Mine's 42, so there's not one for 42, but one of the things I mainly do when I'm designing sites is it's mainly to get I don't try and focus to make it pixel perfect. It's about getting the concept right and the look and feel, then I tweak it in the browser. I heard a phrase saying it's deciding the browser, and that's what I try to do. So 40 pixels will be good enough for me, so that's going to be MR10. So, okay, back to editor. Class MR10. We don't need it on the last one. Okay, so now let's add on the hover effects. So the hover, I want it to be CW Blue 600. This is what I had in my head when I've done it. So if you do hover, and it's CW Blue 600, and we want it to be underlined as well. Hover, underline. And we just add that to the bottom one also. Yep, that's blue. Okay, so we're going to need some space in between these. So what's the height I've got on this? So if I click on Alt, okay, 42 pixels. Again, we know that doesn't exist, so we're going to do 10. So on the replicant div, it's going to be PY10, and how does that look? Notice they don't look like they're in the middle centered, so that's easy to do. We just need to add on item center. Much better. Excellent. Okay, so the next bit we got on our design is the main section. One of the things I've not done when I designed this, I didn't do the mobile design, so we're going to do that in a later video. We just go through and tidy up the mobile stuff. It shouldn't take too long because my talent makes it really easy to do mobile classes. So let's do this now. So back to the code. Okay, so this is going to be a main. And again, it's going to be what we got before, so it's going to be that. So we're going to copy the same width and spacing on the left and right. Okay, so if you go back to the design, so looking at this, this looks like it's going to be the main article for the page. So let's say that be the H1 and it's going to be the category tag here. So let's build this bit. So we're going to say an article, and let's give it the border onto this, so border grey 100, and it's 1 pixel. So when you're just doing 1 pixel, you just need to state border -t, and that defaults it to 1 pixel. And we do the colour border -CW grey 100. Excellent. Okay, so let's add in the image. So looking at this, it's going to be a flex again, so let's put a flex item on this article too. So flex, justify between. Okay, so let's add in a link for the image, so href hash. Okay, let's give it a width of 50-50, since it's about half the size. So if you do class w half, and we set a margin of, say, 12 pixels. Sorry, not 12 pixels, the 12 scale. So that'd be 4 times 12, that'd be 48 pixels. Okay. I've already copied all the images, so save you watching me export all these images. I'll just copy them all over. So if you open the image folder, images, I'll just copy all these across. Again, if you want me to send the code for this, just put a note in the comments and I will add it in the description so you guys can get the code. So if you go back to the design, and for the design it's going to be him there, and if you notice it's got a slight border, so we add that in as well. So image, images, backpack, that's the guy. And we put the alt tag backpacker. It looks like it's outside at a C. Outside by C. Don't need to source it. And let's add in that border. So class, sorry, not border, border radius. Border SM. Okay, that's too close there, so we need to add on some padding, so we do that as well. So we would want that on this one here, and I say a padding of PY10 to keep it symmetrical. Magic. So let's add in the content then. So we're going to create a div. And we want that to be 50% as well, like the other one, so 1/2. Let's go to design. So that's slightly nudged down a bit. It looks like it's about, I'll put a top of 4 times, that'll do. That's 16 pixels, that looks about right. So let's add in the content. So the first thing here is this link to the category page. blue 300, and it's regular. So hash travel class is text CW blue 300. The hover effects are going to be 600, so text blue 600, excellent. Also hover underline and that looks 14 pixels, so that's going to be text S-SM. And then see how that looks. Excellent. Okay, let's add in this text, so let's copy that. This looks like it's going to be the H1 for the page, so add that in there. So for this, we've got a font of bold and grey 700, grey 800, and it's using the font work stands. So let's do that one. So that's going to be font bold, font work stands. Text, it was 32, so that's going to be 3XL. And it was text CW grey 800. Okay, that's it there. I think that leading looks slightly tighter, so let's tighten it up a bit. I think it looks a bit loose, so just do the leading. So leading tight. Oh, that's a bit bad, yeah. Excellent. And the text is here, just some dummy lorem ipsum. Okay, so this looks like it's slightly too close, and so does that one. So let's add a margin to both of these. So if you add to the travel, so let's add on, we don't need the big one for this, so 1. This is an inline element, so we're going to need to make this a block. So yep, and for this one, let's say 12 pixels. Yep, perfect. So that line height looks a bit more, yeah, I've made the line height different there. So let's make that, change the leading on that one as well. So class relaxed. Excellent, that looks much better. So compare back to design. Cool. So let's go down to these posts here. For these images, I've just got them from unsplash.com. I don't know if you used it before, but it's a really great resources for images. So let's start doing these now. So let's do margin top of 4. And I think we're going to use grid for these. So let's use the grid element. Grid cols. That means 3 columns. So it's going to be a grid element with 3 columns in. So look here. Okay, so let's just build out the one, then we get the styling how we want it to be, then we replicate that on the other ones. So at the top, we've got an image there, a link there, and links there. So a href images, and that looks like this whiteboard. Perfect. And meeting, whiteboard meeting for the alt tag. Okay, so we've done the link. Now let's do the text. So href. So this tag is business. It's going to be the same as this one up here. So just copy all this class information. These are going to be H2, so do this one, the title, H2. 10 tips for productive meeting. So this is going to have a font of 18 pixels, grey of 9, and font weight of bold. So font bold, font work sans, and it was text XL, which is 18 pixels, and the colour was 900. So font CW, not font, sorry, it's text CW 900. Cool. I'm just adding the content. This is slightly small. This is 14 pixels, so it's going to be text font SM. Text SM, sorry, not font SM. Okay, and you make the leading loose again. Oh, I know what's going on. I need to wrap this into an article tag, so quickly do that now. Okay, that looks. Need to add some margin top to this image here, so let's add of margin 8 pixels. Oh, these titles need to be a link. I've not done that, so I'll quickly do that now. So if I do hey href, put it there, and just copy this stuff out of H2 and put it onto the link element. And then we need to do the hover colours, so it's going to be hover, and it's text CW blue 600, and the next one's going to be a hover of underline. Perfect. Okay, let's just copy this across and see how it looks like. So if I just copy it 8 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, cool. We do the spacing once we add any other pieces of content, so I'm just going to do all these. Okay, save you watching me put in 8 pieces of article. What I do is I copy the content I've got already in old-fashioned Blue Peter style. Here's one I've done earlier. See if I can find the text. That's better. So paste this in. Cool. Okay, so these are too close, so we just need to put in some separators. So we want a gap of 8, which is about 32 pixels. So see, so that's about 32 pixels there, and we want a row of 6. Oh, I duplicated the article image one too many times, so I'll just quickly delete them now. So oh, that's fantastic, yep. Okay, so if we go back to our design and have a look at it. So that's the top. And that's these here now. I don't think I could make this a link now, and then we call it a day. So if we go back up to here and just wrap a hyperlink around it, so paste that in, and now we just copy over stuff in here. And now we just add in the hover. So the hover is 600. Text CW blue 600. And hover of underline. Cool. Okay, so I think I'm going to call it a pause for this video, and in the next video we're going to finish off the rest of the site. So we will do the last remaining bits of footer and email sign up and these 2 online platforms here. Any issues, questions, problems, put a note in the comment. I'll try and reply to them. And if you liked this video, give us a like or subscribe so you can get to know when the next video drops. Thanks for the time.